Good morning, everyone. In this video lesson, I am going to explain about bandwidth of frequency modulation. The main objectives of this lesson are, upon completion of this topic, you will be able to know about bandwidth of frequency modulated wave, sidebands in frequency modulation, relation between sidebands and modulation, frequency spectrum of FM, noise triangle in FM. So these are the main objectives that we are going to discuss in this lesson. So before going to start off for these objectives, so let us see what we have studied, summarize what we have studied in the last class. In the last class, we studied about definition of angle modulation. Angle modulation is the process in which angle of the carrier wave is varied according to the instantaneous amplitude of message signal. In this method, the amplitude of the carrier wave is maintained constant. An important feature of angle modulation is that it can provide better discrimination against noise and interference than amplitude modulation. This improvement in performance is achieved at the expense of increased transmission bandwidth. That is, angle modulation provides us the practical means of exchanging transmission bandwidth for improved noise performance. Such a trade-off is not possible with amplitude modulation. The angle modulation can be broadly classified into two types, namely phase modulation and frequency modulation. In phase modulation, the phase of the carrier wave is varied in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the message signal. In frequency modulation FM, it is defined as the process in which the frequency of the carrier wave is varied in accordance with the instantaneous amplitude of the message signal, keeping amplitude and phase of the carrier wave constant. And we also derived the expression for FM wave. So the FM wave is derived as AC sine 2 pi of CT plus MF sine 2 pi of MT. In that we define two parameters called frequency deviation and modulation index. We obtain the expression for frequency deviation delta equal to KF AM. Delta is the frequency deviation. It is directly proportional to amplitude of the message signal. We also obtained a parameter called modulation index. It is equal to MF, which is equal to delta by FM. It is nothing but the ratio of frequency deviation to the maximum message signal frequency, and hence modulation index is directly proportional to amplitude of the message signal and inversely proportional to frequency of message signal. Now we will say about the bandwidth of the FM wave. So AM requires a total bandwidth equal to 2 times the highest frequency present in the given message signal. Whereas in DSBSC, it is also 2 times FM. Whereas in SSB, it is just equal to the highest frequency present in the message signal. Vestigial sideband modulation requires slightly higher bandwidth than SSB modulation, but the bandwidth of FM theoretically, if we say it is infinite, in practice, the total bandwidth of FM signal can be determined by knowing the modulation index and number of significant sideband pairs. We will see what is a number of significant sideband pairs. So this is the concept that is related to the bandwidth. We have the carrier. See the right side diagram. We have the carrier, upper sideband and lower sideband. The carrier frequency is FC. Upper sideband frequency is FC plus FM. lower sideband frequency is Fc minus Fm, and this is the bandwidth. Bandwidth is the difference between the upper side frequency and the lower side frequency, as we studied in amplitude modulation. Whereas in FM, we have more number of side bands. In AM, we have only 2 side bands. If we consider a narrow band FM, whose bandwidth is very small, in that case, we have 2 side bands, one upper side band and one lower side band. So we have one significant sideband pair. We will see what is significant pair. See the concept here. N equal to 1. The number of sideband pairs. First pair of significant sidebands 1. This is the carrier. First upper sideband, first lower sideband, second upper sideband, second lower sideband, and we have 2 significant sideband pairs. As modulation index increases 0.5, 1, 2, 4, etc. When modulation index increases, the sidebands also increases in frequency modulation. If we take more modulation index, we will get more sidebands, which occupies more bandwidth. See here, the bandwidth is equal to just the difference between these 2 sidebands. Here the bandwidth is equal to the difference between these 2 sidebands. Here the bandwidth is equal to difference between these third pair of sidebands, fourth pair of sidebands for modulation index equal to 4, fifth pair of sidebands, and so on. So we have n number of sidebands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on right side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on left side here. This is first USB, second USB, third USB, fourth USB, fifth USB. Similarly, we have first lower side band, second lower side band, third lower, fourth lower, fifth lower. As modulation index increases, the number of significant side bands also increases. If we consider only one sideband pair, it is equal to 2FM. If we consider 2 sideband pairs, it is equal to 2 times 2FM. If we consider 3 sideband pairs, it is equal to 3 times 3FM. If we have 4 sideband pairs, it is equal to 4 times 2FM, because the difference between upper sideband and lower sideband is just equal to 2FM. And hence, it depends upon the number of significant sideband pairs. Having this concept, we will see what is the bandwidth of FM now. FM bandwidth can be determined by using this simple formula, bandwidth equal to 2FM into N, where FM is the maximum message signal frequency, N is the number of significant sideband pairs. In the last slide, if you see, number of significant sideband pairs are 1 here, 2FM into 1. In this case, number of significant sideband pairs, right side 2 and left side 2. 2 pairs of sidebands are there, 2 times 2FM. Here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 times 2FM. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left side, 5 pairs of sidebands are there. So 5 times 2FM. So we can calculate the bandwidth by using this simple technique, calculate the number of significant sideband pairs. We will see what are the significant sideband pairs. If an FM wave contains n number of significant sideband pairs, the bandwidth is equal to n times 2FM. Each pair requires 2FM bandwidth, and hence it is equal to n times 2FM. N number of 4 significant sidebands, if we consider, n times 2FM is the bandwidth of the FM. Alternatively, we can also calculate the bandwidth of the FM. If we don't know the significant sidebands, the bandwidth is equal to 2 times delta maximum plus FM maximum, 2 times the frequency deviation plus maximum message signal frequency. Add the maximum frequency deviation to the maximum message signal frequency and multiply by 2, then we will be getting the approximate bandwidth. This was proposed by Carson. So we have Carson's rule for the calculation of bandwidth of FM. This rule is taken into consideration only the amplitude of the significant side bands greater than 10% of the carrier amplitude. So what are the significant side bands? We consider the side bands whose amplitude is at least 10% of the carrier amplitude. For example, if the carrier is having amplitude of 100 volts, 10% of 100 is 10 volts. So if the side bands having at least 10 volts amplitude, they are taken into account for calculation of bandwidth. The remaining side bands are not taken into account. So theoretically, FM contains infinite number of side bands. As the deviation increases, side bands also increases. We are considering only the significant side bands whose amplitude is at least 10% of the carrier amplitude. Sometimes if we want more bandwidth, more representation, we consider significant side bands are at least 1% of the carrier amplitude. So we calculate the number of significant side bands. So calculate number of significant sideband pairs multiplied by 2 FM, then we will get the bandwidth. Approximate bandwidth you can obtain by using this expression using Carson's rule. Now we'll say about what are sidebands and in detail about modulation index. If the amplitude of the modulating signal varies, frequency deviation also varies. As we studied, frequency deviation delta F equal to KF AM. So modulation frequency deviation is directly proportional to amplitude of the message signal. Amplitude of the message signal increases, frequency deviation increases. Amplitude of the message signal decreases, frequency deviation also decreases. So we can keep a particular value of frequency deviation and we can go for a certain modulation index for getting a number of sidebands, and then we go for calculation of the frequency spectrum. So how do you get the frequency spectrum? When FM wave is applied to a Fourier transform, take the Fourier transform of the FM wave and draw the frequency spectrum, we will be getting the number of side bands. If we display the FM wave on spectrum analyzer, we will be getting the carrier frequency FC. This is a first upper sideband frequency FC plus FM. This is the first lower sideband frequency FC minus FM. Second upper sideband frequency FC plus 2 FM. Second lower sideband frequency FC minus 2 FM. Third upper sideband frequency FC plus 3 FM. Third lower FC minus 3 FM, and so on. We have n number of upper side bands right side to the carrier, n number of lower side bands left side to the carrier. We calculate the side band pairs for the calculation of bandwidth. As we have seen, this is the first pair of side bands. If the first pair of side bands are significant, then the bandwidth equal to 1 times this. So what is this value, the difference? FC plus FM minus of FC minus FM, which is equal to 2 FM. The distance between them is 2 FM. 1 times 2 FM. One significant sideband, capital N into 2 FM. Capital N is 1 here. Capital N means one pair of sidebands. If we take one pair of sidebands, 1 times 2 FM. If you take two pair of sidebands, 2 times 2 FM, that is 4 FM. You can see FC plus 2 FM here, FC minus 2 FM here. The difference between them is FC plus 2 FM minus of FC minus 2 FM. We are getting it as 4 FM. This is the bandwidth. If we consider two significant sideband pairs, two pairs, 2 times 2 FM. So 4 FM. We are getting it as 4 FM. How do we calculate these significant sideband pairs? We know the carrier amplitude. Take at least 10% of the carrier amplitude, and those sidebands are taken into account. So we have n number of n number of sidebands here, and we consider the sideband amplitudes whose amplitudes are at least 10% of the carrier amplitude. Sometimes at least 1% of the carrier amplitude for better representation of the wideband FM signals. So we have upper sidebands, we have lower sidebands, we have n number of sideband pairs, and the bandwidth is equal to 2n times 2 FM. So number of sidebands produced, their spacing, their amplitude depends upon the frequency deviation and the modulating signal frequency. The FM signal is a summation of all the sidebands. We have carrier, first pair of sidebands, second pair of sidebands, plus third pair of sidebands, and so on. We have n number of significant sideband pairs. The amplitude of the sidebands must vary with the frequency deviation and modulation frequency, but there some produces a fixed amplitude FM wave. So the amplitude of the FM is constant since we are not changing the amplitude of the carrier. The amplitude of the carrier before frequency modulation is same as the amplitude of the carrier after frequency modulation, and hence there is no change in the frequency of amplitude of the carrier before and after modulation. And therefore FM wave, the transmitted power of FM wave is just equal to the unmodulated carrier power. What is unmodulated carrier power? PC, which is equal to AC square by 2R. So FM requires a total transmission power of equal to the unmodulated carrier power, which is equal to AC square by 2R. Any sidebands having amplitude greater than 10% of unmodulated carrier are considered as significant sidebands for the calculation of bandwidth. Once again, see the spectrum. We have modulation index 0.5, one pair of sideband, modulation index 1, two pairs of sidebands, modulation index 2, three pairs of sidebands, modulation index 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 pairs of sidebands you are getting. So depending upon the value of modulation index, we are getting the number of sidebands. As modulation index increases, the number of sidebands also increases. We are not considering all the sidebands for the calculation of bandwidth. We take the significant sidebands. How do you calculate the significant sidebands? Significant sidebands are the sidebands whose amplitude is at least 10% of the unmodulated carrier amplitude. So in order to calculate the bandwidth of the FM signal, we can make use of significant sidebands. Any sidebands having amplitude less than 10%, they are considered as insignificant and they are not used for calculation of bandwidth. The FM signal bandwidth depends on modulation index. Higher the modulation index gives rise to more number of sidebands, causing wider bandwidth. Now let us see the spectrum of the FM wave with reference to the Bessel's functions. FM wave can be understood with the help of the Bessel's functions. So what are the Bessel's functions? So these are the mathematical Bessel's functions. This is the carrier wave. This is the first sideband, second frequency, third. So we have modulation index and Besel's function of the modulation index. As the order of the Besel's function increases, first order, 0th order, first order. As the order of the Besel's function increases, the amplitude is decreasing. So amplitude of the Besel's function decreases as the order of the Besel's function increases. So this concept we are using for calculation of frequency spectrum of FM for better understanding of the FM wave. Now see here, this is the modulation index M. Jn of M, n is the order of the Besel's function. So M is the modulation index, Jn of M. J0 of M, J0 means a 0th order. This waveform represents 0th order. So FM wave can be represented in terms of the Besel's functions. That is the reason if you know the properties of the Besel's function, we can know the properties of the wideband FM signal. As the order increases, J0, J1, J2, J3, the amplitude of the Besel's functions decreases. That means the sideband amplitude decreases. As M increases also, the amplitude is decreasing and going zero. So that is the reason the sideband amplitude is going low. If we take more number of sidebands, those sidebands are occupied and surrounded by carrier. As number of sidebands increasing, the amplitude also decreases and depends upon the modulation index. So depending upon the we have the Besel's tables, modulation index increases, the carrier amplitude, upper sideband, these are the order, J0 of beta, beta is 0, J0 of 0 value here, J0 of 0.25, J0 of 0.5, J0 of 1 value, similarly, J1 of 0.25, J1 of 0.5, J1 of 1. If we know these values, we can easily calculate the sidebands by making use of the mathematical expression of FM. FM bandwidth can be determined by simple formula as we studied. The bandwidth of FM equal to 2 FM times N. The total bandwidth of FM signal can be determined by knowing the modulation index. For example, assume that the modulation index is greater than 1. We can see this produces more significant sideband phase. The bandwidth can be determined by using the formula 2FM into capital N. So N is the number of significant sideband pairs, number of significant sideband pairs we have for the calculation of bandwidth, and 2FM into n number of significant sideband pairs we have. So bandwidth can be calculated. If the amplitude of the modulating signal varies, frequency deviation will change. We have seen carrier is present. This is the first USB, first LSB, second USB, second LSB. If we take first pair of sidebands, 2FM. If we consider second pair of sidebands, 2 times 2FM. If we consider third pair of sideband, 3 times 3FM, and so on. It depends on the number of sideband pairs. We can also see the more elaborated diagram here. This is the carrier, AC into J0 of beta. Beta is the modulation index. First sideband, upper sideband has a frequency FC plus FM. Amplitude is AC into J1 of beta. For n equal to -1, we have FC minus FM. This is AC into J minus 1 of beta. Second upper sideband, FC plus 2FM, whose amplitude is AC into J2 of beta. Second lower sideband, whose amplitude is AC into J minus 2 beta, and so on. We have amplitude of the sidebands depending upon the value of the Besel's functions. If you consider first pair of sidebands here, 1 into 2 FM. If you consider 4 pairs of sidebands, this is 4 pairs of sidebands. So bandwidth is equal to FC plus 4 FM minus of FC minus 4 FM. We are getting it as 8 FM in this diagram. The same can be obtained by making use of the formula n times 2 FM. 4 significant sideband pairs multiplied by 2 FM. So we are getting it as 8 FM. So the number of sidebands produced, their spacing, their amplitude depends upon the frequency deviation and the modulating signal frequency. The FM signal is summation of sideband frequencies. The amplitude of sidebands must vary with frequency deviation and modulating signal frequency, but the sum produces a fixed amplitude FM wave. So amplitude is distributed to the carrier and all the upper sidebands and also the lower sidebands. The sum of all these amplitudes, it is equal to the fixed amplitude of the FM wave. Any sidebands having amplitude greater than 10% of unmodulated carrier are considered as significant sidebands. So we are making use of significant sidebands for the calculation of bandwidth of FM wave. Any sidebands having the amplitude less than 10%, they are considered as insignificant sidebands. The FM signal bandwidth depends on modulation index. Higher the modulation index gives rise to more number of sidebands, causing wider bandwidth. So we are getting wider bandwidth for higher the modulating index. That means the bandwidth equal to bandwidth of the FM wave is equal to 2 times delta plus FM. Delta in turn depends on the modulation index. So when frequency deviation increases, the modulation index also increases. When frequency deviation increases, the bandwidth also increases. And hence, FM bandwidth depends on the frequency deviation, and it also depends on the modulation index. Higher the modulation index gives rise to more number of sidebands, causing wider bandwidth for the message signals. See here bandwidth versus Bessel's functions. This diagram is showing the Bessel's functions. This is beta on time axis, Jn of beta on y-axis. As the order of the polynomial increases, this is J0 of beta, J1 of beta, J2 of beta is the modulation index, J0 of beta, J1 of beta, J2 of beta waveform, and so on. As the order of the polynomial increases, Bessel's function increases, the amplitude is decreasing. Similarly, as the modulation index value increases, the J coefficients also decreases. So we are getting the sidebands. This is the carrier, upper sideband, lower sideband, second USB, second LSB, third USB, third LSB, and so on. If we take modulation index equal to 1, we are getting a number of significant sidebands here. So we have 1 pair of sidebands, 2 pairs of sidebands, 3 pairs of sidebands. Then in this case, the modulation index equal to 3 times 2 FM. These sidebands are the significant sidebands whose amplitudes are at least 1% of the unmodulated carrier amplitude. As we go on increasing the modulation index, the number of significant sideband pairs increases, and due to that, the bandwidth also increases. So now we'll say about the signal to noise ratio improvements for FM system. The main reason for developing FM wave is to improve the performance of the signal in presence of noise. We require better discrimination against noise and interference. That is the reason we are going for angle modulation process. Angle modulation is the process in which the angle of the carrier wave is varied according with the instantaneous amplitude of the message. In this method, the amplitude of the carrier wave is maintained constant. An important feature of angle modulation is that it can provide better discrimination against noise and interference than amplitude modulation. This improvement in performance is achieved at the expense of increased transmission band. So if we increase the transmission bandwidth, then signal to noise ratio also increases. So there is an improvement of signal to noise ratio in FM system. So there is a trade-off possible between a signal to noise ratio and bandwidth. It is possible for us to increase the bandwidth of the FM wave by increasing the frequency deviation or modulation index. If we increase the bandwidth, then signal to noise ratio also increases. Such a trade-off is not possible with amplitude modulation systems, and hence angle modulation provides better signal to noise ratio. The noise is generated by lightning, motors, automobile ignition systems, power line switching, which affect the signal in the channel. Most of the noise added to the FM wave is in the channel only, and that noise we can minimize by making use of signal to noise ratio improvements. The noise is typically narrow spikes of voltage with very broad frequency. Broad means the noise will have higher frequencies. It has so much of wide range of frequencies. It is corrupting the wide range of FM signals, and hence they are added up to the signal and interfere with it. The noise will add to the signal, causing random variations in amplitude and phase of the signal. That is the reason we need to minimize the effects of noise. So this is a noise triangle in FM. We have signal voltage Vs, and this is the noise voltage. So if the noise is in phase with the signal, then noise will be added up to the signal. See, in phase means when it is 0 degrees. When we keep the noise parameter here, it is added up to the signal. So noise voltage, it is with respect to certain in phase addition or out of phase addition. If you take out of phase addition, the noise added is 0. But it is not always out of phase. There is some amount of phase angle is there between noise voltage and the signal voltage, and hence the noise will be added to the signal, and this is the resultant voltage. This resultant voltage consisting of signal voltage plus noise voltage. In AM system, noise can easily distort the transmitted signals. However, in FM system, any added noise must create a frequency deviation in order to be perceptible. So it is possible for us to increase the frequency deviation, to increase the modulation index, and to increase the bandwidth. Due to that, the signal level can be increased. Signal to noise ratio can be improved. It is not possible for us to remove the noise. It is possible for us to improve the signal power. The signal power can be improved by improving the bandwidth. See, this is the signal voltage, and this is the noise voltage, and this is the resultant signal. And it is not possible for AM system to increase or decrease the bandwidth, because the bandwidth of AM is equal to 2 times the highest frequency present in the message signal. So it is not possible to increase or decrease the noise in AM, whereas it is possible to increase the bandwidth of the FM for improved signal to noise ratio. This is signal before limiting. The noise is added on the top portions of the modulated signal. When this is passing through a limiter circuit, we can provide extra noise immunity in FM system. The signal is passing through a limiter. What is a limiter? It is a clipper circuit where we can clip up the amount of noise. So we can clip up the noise. How it is clipped up? This portion, if I clip it up, the noise portion will be eliminated. So the here clipped off the limiting. When this noise signal is passing through a limiter or negative feedback amplifier or a clipper circuit, these random variations that are added on the top portions of the signal are clipped off, and the most of the noise will be eliminated, and we will be getting the FM wave purified here. The noise is eliminated. So this is the extra feature that we have in FM modulation, where we can make use of amplitude limiters. Because the amplitude of the FM wave is constant, then I can limit the amplitude of the FM wave. Whereas in case of AM, it is not possible to use limiter circuits, because we are varying the amplitude of the carrier according to the amplitude of the message signal. So it is not possible to provide amplitude limiter circuits for AM wave, whereas it is possible for us to provide amplitude limiter circuits for FM wave, so that we can clip off the noise added to the signal, so we can provide better discrimination against noise and interference in case of FM wave. So this is the signal and this is the noise, and it depends on the value of the theta. If theta changes, the noise added to the signal is in phase additive, out of phase cancellation. And therefore this noise added can be of any phase shifter with respect to the signal level. The noise phase has constantly changing angle with respect to the signal. The peak phase shift occurs to the signal when noise phase is perpendicular to the resultant. The phase shift due to the noise is given by sine inverse Vn by Vs. Vn is the noise voltage, Vs is the signal voltage. So we can calculate the phase shift. The noise is essentially in the form of amplitude variations. Most of the noise added in the channel is a random noise, additive white Gaussian noise, where there are variations in the amplitude of the signal. The effect of the noise can be reduced by increasing the signal voltage. So this is the frequency, power versus frequency, power spectrum, close in phase noise. So when the bandwidth increases, the signal power also increases. And there is one effect called capture effect in FM. What is capture effect in FM? When two or more FM signals occur simultaneously on the same frequency, and if the signal amplitude of one signal is more than twice the amplitude of the other signal, then the stronger signal will capture the channel and will totally eliminate the weaker signal, which is known as capture effect, capturing the wanted signal. The capture effect is nothing but capturing the wanted signal. If there are two channels, two messages, two or more FM signals, they are on the same frequency. If the signal amplitude of one signal is higher than twice the amplitude of the other, then this twice the amplitude of the other is the stronger signal. This stronger signal will capture the channel and will totally eliminate the weaker signal, which is called capture effect. So we have to see that the stronger signal should be transmitted, so that we can minimize the effect of the unwanted channels. So what are the advantages of FM? Less effective noise and interference on the signals. This is the most important part of the advantage of FM. Less noise added to the signal is very less, because there are two chances that we have to minimize the effect of noise. One is we are keeping the amplitude of the FM wave constant, so we can make use of amplitude limiter circuits to clip up the noise. That is possible. The second one is we can increase the amplitude of the message signal. We can increase the frequency deviation of FM wave thereby modulation index increases. When modulation index increases, the bandwidth also increases. When bandwidth increases, there is effect of less noise, so we have more signal to noise ratio. Similarly, the interference means the adjacent unwanted transmissions also minimized because of strongly capturing our FM signal in the wanted frequency band. Effect of noise can be further decreased by increasing frequency deviation or by use of amplitude limiters. There are two techniques. In addition to that, we have one more technique called pre-emphasis and de-emphasis in order to provide extra noise immunity. In our next video, we will discuss about what is pre-emphasis and de-emphasis to provide extra noise immunity. In this, we have studied the bandwidth, frequency deviation, modulation index, and the use of amplitude limiter circuits for providing noise immunity for the transmission of FM signals. The total transmitted power is useful because there is no change in the carrier amplitude. So total power of the FM wave is equal to unmodulated carrier power, and hence the total power of FM wave equal to PC, which is equal to AC square by 2R, where R is the resistance of the antenna to which this FM wave is fed for the radiation into the space, and hence the total transmitted power is useful in case of FM. So these are the main advantages of angle modulation, that is either FM or PM. So better discrimination against noise and interference. If we take more number of side bands, we will be getting more bandwidth. The bandwidth is more. We have better signal to noise ratio. In amplitude modulation, the noise gets amplitude modulated over the carrier. There is no means of reducing this noise. The signal to noise ratio is poor, and in AM, the noise is more. In frequency modulation, signal to noise ratio is high. There is a possibility of reducing noise or increasing signal to noise ratio by increasing the frequency deviation. Hence, the signal to noise ratio is more in FM. And hence, FM provides better discrimination against noise and interference. That is the reason we have so many advantages of the FM wave. The amplitude of the frequency modulated wave remains independent of depth of modulation, whereas in case of AM, this amplitude is depending on the modulation index. All the transmitted power in FM is useful, and hence FM is more efficient than AM. In AM, most of the transmitted power is in carrier, which is not useful for message. So FM is more efficient way of transmitting the signal. The signal to noise ratio is very large in FM due to the larger reduction in the noise due to the increased bandwidth of the FM. The noise in frequency modulating signal can be reduced by further increasing the deviation. It is not possible in case of amplitude modulation. Frequency modulation transmitters are operated in the upper VHF and UHF range, and therefore there is less noise than medium wave and high frequency wave occupied by AM transmitters. At the FM broadcast frequency, the space wave is used for propagation so that the transmission is limited to slightly more than the line of sight. It is thus possible to operate several independent transmitters to be transmitted with less interference than would be possible with amplitude modulation. Hence, because of all these reasons, FM wave is particularly used in radio broadcasting. It is operated in the range from 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz frequency range. So FM is used in entertainment equipment such as video cassette recorders, used for radio broadcasting, FM radio broadcasting. Narrowband FM is used in the mobile communication. So because of all these advantages of FM, people are going for frequency modulation rather than amplitude modulation. So after listening to this lesson, the students must able to answer the following questions. Bandwidth of the FM signal depends on frequency deviation. So bandwidth is equal to 2 times frequency deviation plus message signal frequency. Any sidebands having the amplitude less than 10%, they are insignificant. Third question, what is the bandwidth of FM signal with a maximum deviation is 10 kilohertz and modulating signal frequency is 4 kilohertz. Calculate the bandwidth of the FM wave for maximum frequency deviation of 10 kilohertz and 4 kilohertz is the message signal frequency. What is the formula for bandwidth? By using Carson's rule, we have the formula for bandwidth. Bandwidth equal to 2 times deviation plus message signal frequency. Deviation plus message signal frequency is equal to 10 kilohertz plus 4 kilohertz. 10 plus 4, 14 into 2, 28 kilohertz is the total bandwidth occupied by the FM signal. If the significant sideband pair concept is not given, then we can make use of Carson's rule to calculate the bandwidth of the FM wave using the formula 2 into delta F plus FM or 2 into frequency deviation plus message signal frequency. The advantage of FM is option A is less noise, more noise, less bandwidth. So advantage of FM is less noise. It occupies a more bandwidth, but we want always less noise, so more signal to noise ratio. The disadvantage of FM is it requires more bandwidth, less noise, less bandwidth. The option is it requires more bandwidth. It is a simple limitation. Nowadays, there is no problem for the bandwidth. So FM requires more bandwidth than AM, but the noise added to the FM signal is very less. So FM provides better noise immunity, better signal to noise ratio. Thereby, we can recover the signal properly at the distant end. Effect of noise can be reduced by A. Increasing signal voltage, B. Decreasing signal voltage, C. Increasing signal frequency. The answer is increasing signal voltage. So noise effect can be reduced by increasing the bandwidth. How do you increase the bandwidth? By increasing the frequency deviation. How do you increase the frequency deviation? Because frequency deviation is proportional to amplitude of the message signal. So when the signal amplitude is increased, the frequency deviation increases. Due to that, bandwidth also increases. When bandwidth increases, the effect of noise decreases. That is the main advantage of going for FM. Now, after listening to this lesson, you will be able to answer these questions. Number 1, define bandwidth of OFM. Number 2, what is the relation between bandwidth and modulation index? Number 3, it is a problem. An FM transmitter has maximum frequency deviation 120 kilohertz and maximum modulating signal frequency 12 kilohertz. Calculate the bandwidth of FM using Carson's rule. So what is Carson's rule? It is bandwidth is equal to 2 times deviation plus message signal. Deviation is 120 plus message signal frequency is 12 kilohertz. 120 plus 12 is 132 multiplied by 2 is the bandwidth. Draw the frequency spectrum of FM. Frequency spectrum of FM contains carrier and the number of sidebands. The number of sidebands depends upon the modulation index. Define noise triangle. What is noise triangle in FM? Draw and explain the noise triangle in FM. So you must able to answer all these questions.